Many people believe they found the ultimate solution for their savings, but often, the truth is far more complex. Take Jordan, for instance. He confidently moved his funds to a high-yield savings account offering a 4.5% return. He was convinced he had outsmarted the system, having thoroughly researched the pitfalls of standard savings options. While others settled for a mere 0.45%, Jordan was earning 10 times that amount, feeling quite pleased with his financial acumen. However, his sense of accomplishment was misplaced. He hadn't truly solved the problem at all. His bank was still generating significantly more profit from his deposit than he was receiving himself. In fact, the very strategy his high-yield account employed with his money, he could have executed independently, retaining all the earnings. But what truly adds insult to injury involves his colleague, Maya, who kept $20,000 in a conventional savings account. Over 1 year, her bank paid her a meager $76 in interest, a sum barely worth mentioning. Yet that same year, the bank leveraged her $20,000 to generate over $1,200 for themselves. She received a pittance, while they kept the vast majority, and astonishingly, she remained grateful, oblivious to her actual losses. Jordan thought he'd corrected the issue, but both he and Maya were mistaken, albeit at different levels of misunderstanding. Professor Wealth meticulously analyzed both scenarios, revealing insights your bank certainly prefers you not to discover. Maya, for her part, had diligently followed conventional financial advice, saving 6 months' worth of living expenses. She placed it in a traditional savings account at a major national bank, believing it to be a responsible and secure choice. From her $20,000, Maya's annual earnings were a mere $7.60, amounting to about 63 cents monthly, insufficient even for a small lunch. Maya likely never pondered her bank's activities with her substantial $20,000 deposit. She probably imagined it lay dormant, secured in a vault. This assumption, however, was entirely incorrect. The instant Maya deposited her funds, the bank immediately put that capital to work, not for her, but for its own gain. Maya's bank primarily used her $20,000 by lending it out, which is the core business model for virtually every bank in the nation. They accept your deposits, compensate you with a minuscule interest rate, and then relend that same money to others at a significantly higher rate. The difference between what banks pay depositors and what they earn is termed the net interest margin. For U.S. banks, this currently averages 3.39%, marking a peak since 2019. Applying this to Maya, her bank paid her 0.38%, yet generated an average of 3.39% on the funds loaned out using her very deposit. On her $20,000, this amounted to an annual profit of approximately $602 for the bank, while Maya herself only received $7.60. However, this figure represents just the average. Far greater profits are found in areas like credit card lending, where the average APR in early 2026 stood at 21%. Maya's bank utilized her deposit, paying her 0.38% to then extend credit to cardholders at a staggering 21% interest. This generated a spread exceeding 20 percentage points. Even a fraction of Maya's deposit directed to credit cards would yield profits far surpassing her annual interest. Other profitable avenues include auto loans, averaging around 7.5%, mortgages at approximately 6.8%, and personal loans at about 12%. Each of these lending products is partially funded by deposits like Maya's, consistently generating profits for the bank that are many times what she earns. Finally, consider the Treasury trade, an activity that should prompt serious thought. Maya's bank uses a portion of her deposit to purchase short-term U.S. Treasury Bills. These 3-month T-bills currently yield around 3.6%. The bank profits 3.6% on Maya's money, paying her only 0.38%, a 3.22% spread on an asset she could buy herself. The bank essentially acts as a middleman between Maya and the U.S. government, taking over 3% for this service. Beyond interest, banks also accumulate significant revenue from various fees. American banks collected an estimated $12.1 billion in a single year from overdraft, ATM, and maintenance charges alone. Major players like JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo each collected over $1 billion just from overdraft fees in 2024. These substantial fees are levied on the very customers whose deposits, including Maya's $20,000, power the bank's lending activities. Furthermore, every time Maya uses her debit card, the bank receives interchange revenue, taking a percentage from the merchant. There's also the float, profit earned when banks temporarily hold funds from pending transactions for a day or two before they fully clear. And let's not forget the anonymized data on spending habits that banks compile, package, and then share with marketing collaborators. Each of these represents an additional profit stream, all originating from Maya's initial deposit. The complete picture becomes quite evident. Her bank didn't merely safeguard her money, they effectively leased it. For her $20,000, she received only $76 annually for them to utilize as they pleased, believing she was earning interest. Now let's turn our attention to Jordan, who might be watching this thinking, I already understand this. That's why I switched to a high-yield savings account. Jordan is indeed correct and significantly more financially savvy than Maya. His high-yield account offers a 4.5% return, while Maya's yields a mere 0.38%. With a $20,000 balance, Jordan is collecting approximately $900 annually, a stark contrast to Maya's $76. He researched his options, made the necessary change, and consequently earns 10 times more than the typical saver. So, where's the potential issue? The first concern is that Jordan's advertised 4.5% might not be his actual consistent earning rate. Many high-yield savings accounts promote rates up to a specific percentage, often with conditions or limits on the balance. Many such accounts employ a tiered system, meaning the advertised top rate only applies to a small initial sum, like the first $500 or $1,000. Beyond that threshold, the interest rate significantly decreases. Alternatively, some banks entice customers with a high promotional rate for the initial 90 days, only to later reduce it without much fanfare. So, while Jordan might have been drawn in by a headline displaying 4.5%, his actual effective earning rate could be considerably less. The second major challenge lies in how this interest is taxed. Any interest earned from a savings account, regardless of its type, is considered ordinary income. This means it's subject to federal income tax, along with any applicable state and local income taxes. For someone like Jordan, in a 22% federal tax bracket and residing in a state with a 5% income tax, over a quarter of his interest earnings simply vanish due to taxation. This significantly reduces his annual $900 gain, leaving him with approximately $657 after all taxes are deducted. The third, and arguably most significant issue concerns the actual use of Jordan's money by his high-yield savings account provider. How does the bank manage to pay Jordan a 4.5% return? They employ the very same strategies we discussed regarding Maya's traditional bank. They lend out the deposited funds, invest in Treasury Bills, and essentially operate the same profit-generating mechanism. The sole distinction is that high-yield accounts share a larger portion of these profits with the depositor. However, it remains just a portion. The bank still acts as a middleman, retaining its own significant share of the earnings. This leads to a crucial question Jordan seemingly never considered. If the bank is purchasing Treasury bills with his money to earn 3.6%, why shouldn't he just purchase them directly? Professor Wealth meticulously calculated the outcomes for the same $20,000 over a 12-month period, outlining 3 distinct financial scenarios. The first scenario examines Maya's traditional savings account, which offers a meager 0.38% APY, resulting in a gross interest earning of $76. After accounting for both federal and state taxes, she was left with roughly $55. This meager sum represents her entire annual return for 6 months of diligent saving. The second scenario examined Jordan's high-yield savings account, offering a 4.5% annual percentage yield. This generated a gross interest income of $900. However, after a combined 27% in federal and state income taxes, Jordan's net gain was approximately $657, while significantly better than Maya's. A crucial detail emerges. Every dollar of that interest income is subject to taxation at both the federal and state levels. This dual tax burden impacts his overall take-home amount. Professor Wealth then introduced the third option, a short-term Treasury bill exchange traded fund, exemplified by SGOV. As of April 2026, SGOV showed a 12-month trailing yield of 3.95%, with its current 30-day SEC yield standing at 3.55%. Investing $20,000 in SGOV would translate to approximately $790 in gross income over a year using the trailing yield, or about $710 at the current 30-day rate. Here's the pivotal advantage. Interest earned from U.S. Treasury securities is legally exempt from state and local income taxes, a federal mandate. Consequently, Jordan pays both federal and state taxes on his $900, while the SGOV investor faces only federal taxation on their $790. After federal taxes alone, the SGOV investor would retain roughly $616 at the trailing yield. This sum is achieved without any state or local tax deductions. One might initially observe that Jordan's high-yield account still yields a slightly higher amount in raw dollars. Indeed, in this direct comparison, 4.5% is numerically superior to 3.95%. Yet this simple comparison overlooks several critical factors. Jordan's 4.5% is merely an advertised rate, susceptible to change at any moment without prior notification. The bank could unilaterally reduce it to 3.5% next month, simply informing him via email after the fact. In contrast, SGOV's yield directly reflects actual Treasury bill rates determined by U.S. government auctions. This ensures transparency, market-driven performance, and no deceptive practices. Jordan's 4.5% earnings are subject to state income tax, unlike SGOV's yield, which enjoys tax exemption. For residents in states with high taxes such as California or New York, this tax advantage alone can outweigh the nominal rate difference. Furthermore, Jordan's 4.5% still involves the bank as an intermediary, whereas SGOV completely bypasses this middleman. Instead, you directly lend to the U.S. government through Treasury bills, retaining the full yield minus a minimal 0.09% annual fee. The crucial insight here isn't that one choice is universally superior, but that Jordan was simply unaware of having alternative options. He mistakenly believed his high-yield savings account represented the ultimate financial solution, when in reality, it's merely a slightly better position within the same system. Now let's explore Professor Wealth's recommendations, which are far simpler than many people might imagine. Firstly, maintain your existing checking account. There's no need to close it, as it remains essential for all your daily expenses and routine payments. The objective isn't to alter your spending habits, but rather to optimize the placement of your unutilized funds. Secondly, pinpoint your idle cash. This includes your emergency fund, general savings, or money earmarked for investments, a down payment, or a substantial purchase. This is the capital currently languishing in a savings account, earning negligible returns while your bank profits 10 to 50 times more from it. Thirdly, consider these practical ways to relocate that capital, starting with option 1, a Treasury bill ETF, like SGOV. You can acquire it through any standard brokerage platform you already use, such as Robinhood, Schwab, or Fidelity, much like purchasing a stock. The ETF then pools your investment and allocates it into U.S. Treasury bills that mature in 3 months or less, distributing monthly dividends as interest income. When you require your funds, you simply sell the ETF during market hours. Its price is designed to remain stable, hovering around $100. Beyond its stable price, this ETF currently offers attractive yields, typically ranging from 3.55% to 3.95%. The management fee is remarkably low, just 0.09% annually, which amounts to only $18 per year on a $20,000 investment. An added benefit is that the income you receive from these distributions is exempt from state and local income taxes. Moving on to the second option for capital relocation, consider treasurydirect.gov, the official U.S. government website. This platform allows direct purchase of Treasury bills, bypassing brokers or ETFs entirely, and eliminating expense ratios. You simply establish an account, link your bank, and then acquire T-bills through government auctions. Once they reach maturity, your principal is returned along with the earned interest. The main drawback is reduced liquidity. You commit to specific maturity dates, typically 4 to 52 weeks. However, for those not needing immediate access, this offers the most direct way to invest with the government. Our third alternative is a money market fund, readily available through major brokerages such as Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard. These funds invest in various short-term government securities and other high-quality short-term debt instruments. They provide excellent daily liquidity, allowing you to withdraw your funds whenever necessary. Their yields are currently competitive with what you'd find in high-yield savings accounts, offering a good return. Furthermore, if you select a Treasury-only money market fund, you'll benefit from the same state tax exemption as with SGOV. Now, a common concern often raised is the FDIC insurance protecting savings accounts. While FDIC insurance offers vital protection if a bank fails, it's crucial to consider what you're truly comparing it against. Treasury bills represent direct loans to the U.S. federal government, the very same entity that stands behind the FDIC. The chance of the government defaulting is practically non-existent, given its power to create money to fulfill its obligations. Therefore, moving from a savings account to treasuries isn't a sacrifice of safety. It's a more direct form of government backing. Addressing the common concern about needing instant access to funds, your checking account is precisely for those everyday needs. For an emergency fund in an instrument like SGOV, there's a short 1 to 2 business day settlement period. But honestly, how often do you truly need a large sum of cash immediately? In most genuine emergencies, a couple of days for excess is perfectly acceptable, and the increased yield you earn while waiting can amount to hundreds of dollars annually. Consider Maya, who responsibly saved her money in a bank, meticulously checking her balance and following every traditional financial rule. Then there's Jordan, who, being more informed, chose a high-yield savings account, earning 10 times what Maya did, believing he had found the perfect solution. Yet neither of them ever posed the fundamental question, what is my bank actually doing with my money, and could I do it myself? The answer is unequivocally yes. Your bank takes your deposits, invests them in treasuries and other assets yielding high returns, then pays you a minuscule fraction. The truly intelligent move isn't just seeking a better savings account, it's questioning why you even need one in the first place. If this video has unveiled financial realities you weren't aware of, please subscribe to Wealth Logic and activate the notification bell. We are dedicated to demystifying the hidden financial calculations behind your daily economic choices. And trust us, the insights in our upcoming video are something you absolutely won't want to miss.